Hello, guys. Welcome to another episode of African Travel Now with Trevor. Today, I'm chatting with Kanya, and we're just going to talk about her journey in West Africa and just literally traveling now during the COVID. Hi, Kanya.
Hello,
How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you doing?
I'm good. So, like earlier on, like I was like, I was typing your name, and then I could always put the H, and then do you get that a lot? Like kind of like butcher your name.
I get that all the time, but it's Kanya, Kanya without an H.
Ah, yes. Like I was butchering it, but like thankfully I got it right at the end. Um, can you just introduce yourself and what you currently do?
Okay, so I am from South Africa. I was born and raised in South Africa. I am a lawyer and I moved to Johannesburg for university after I turned 18. So since 2006, I've been living in Johannesburg. Once I got to Johannesburg, I think I was quite surprised and shocked because I started meeting other Africans from other African countries, and I didn't learn about them at school. And I developed a passion for traveling Africa then. I decided that I wanted to start learning myself about the continent and about the countries. So since university, I've been planning really to travel the continent. And finally now, over 10 years or so later, I'm doing that. I'm traveling the continent.
And like with that, like it's really interesting because like it feels like it's been a long time coming, and you're finally doing it. What was the kind of like process of deciding that okay, like the time is now, like I'm gonna just pick up and go? Did you literally sell everything and move, or did you put things in storage and move?
Yeah. So obviously, like this has been a long time coming. My plans have changed so many times. Initially, I thought in my 20s, I thought I was just going to travel by road, and go up from South Africa all the way up to Egypt. That never worked out. And then my second plan was to try get a job in my legal field in another African country, or get a job that would allow me to travel. So that's what I had been trying to do for the last 5 years, working my way up, studying and trying to secure a position where I could travel the continent. So 5 years later, still nothing had materialized. And now it was during COVID in 2020, and a lot happened in 2020. It was COVID. I spent a year at home alone, working from home. I lost family members. I lost my dad to COVID. And I just decided that I need to decide if I want to do this or not. I have to look for another way to do it, because I know that I won't be happy. And life is so short, and there was just so many deaths happening. And I decided that I'm going to ask my current employer to go work from a different country and see how that works out. So I asked, and I was given the permission to go work from Gabon. So I went to Gabon. I didn't sell anything. I still had everything at home, in my apartment. And I stayed in Gabon for 3 months. I was supposed to stay for 6 months, but I decided to just stay for 3 months. And while I was in Gabon, I really struggled with being outside my comfort zone, being outside my apartment, not having a car, and not having the conveniences that I had in South Africa. And I knew that if I went back home and I went to my apartment, there's a chance that I might not travel again, because the way I realized the power of the comfort zone when I was in Gabon. So in fact, I terminated my lease while I was in Gabon. My sister moved everything out of my apartment while I was there into storage, because I wanted to go back home and not be able to be comfortable and know that I have to go again. So after 3 months, I went back home. And I also knew that I wanted to resign because I wasn't able to explore Gabon as much as I wanted to, because I had to be, in places where there's network. I had to be home and working the whole time. So when I got home, I did resign and I sold everything in storage. I gave away stuff that I couldn't sell so that if I come back in a month's time, it's okay. If I come back in 10 years' time, it's okay. There's nothing holding me back in South Africa. The only thing I can do is go visit my family. So yes, literally, I decided to sell everything and hit the road. And since doing that, even a lot of plans have changed even. So yeah, I'm taking it as it comes. I'm taking my trip as it comes. Right now, I've been here for 6 months in Cote d'Ivoire.
And like when you sell everything and go back home, and then now you're thinking, okay, cool, like I'm actually gonna go and travel. And why Cote d'Ivoire? Like, was there any particular thing, especially after your time in Gabon, to be like, I still want to be based around the West and explore the West more?
Yeah. So basically, I'm trying to learn French. So I was looking for specifically a francophone country, and in Gabon, I just found that there wasn't much for me to do, and I was looking for a country that's more active, in terms of there's more expats. Excuse me, there's more economic activity happening. There's more to explore. So I got a bit of advice from a lot of my friends. I have a lot of friends around Africa, and Cote d'Ivoire was always the country that people said I must go to, Cote d'Ivoire or Senegal. So yeah, that was one of the countries that was most suggested to me. That's why I decided to come here.
Nice, nice. And how was that experience of leaving South Africa in the midst of like the pandemic and the mask and the sanitizing and the social distancing and traveling to Cote d'Ivoire? Like, how was your experience, like in particular with COVID in mind? Did it change,
Mm.
or how was that transition?
So definitely COVID has made traveling more expensive because the tests that you need to do every time you travel really they add up to the costs. Um, but it was quite a shock for me coming from South Africa, and the COVID situation in South Africa was really bad, and having experienced so many deaths in my family and people that I knew, and getting to Gabon, and it was almost non-existent, and getting to Cote d'Ivoire, it was almost like the same thing. Like it wasn't as hectic as it was in South Africa. So it was quite of a bit of a shift coming from South Africa coming here, because here, in South Africa, you can ask anyone, they'll probably know someone that passed away from COVID. But that's not the case here, and that wasn't the case in Gabon as well. So yeah, it was really quite different traveling and seeing how COVID is affecting different countries in different ways.
And like, I, I like, I feel like it's the same experience for me, especially like living South Africa and doing like in Malawi and Tanzania and now Zanzibar, and like just the difference in terms of like also the media, in terms of like reporting the deaths and like what to do and stuff like that compared to South Africa or Zimbabwe, where COVID is like in your face in the media, in the news, in the stats and everything. So like that has been really interesting. And have you, within the time, like the 6 months you've been in Cote d'Ivoire, have you only been in Cote d'Ivoire, or have you experienced like Ghana and neighboring countries around?
So yes, I've been to Ghana while I've been here, and I actually plan to visit neighboring countries. So my plan was actually just to move across these countries. But once I got here, I realized that, okay, this is not going to be um, financially feasible as I thought. So then I decided that, okay, let me have a base rather, and then travel and come back, travel and come back. So that's what I'm trying to do now. now and trying to explore that option of having a base in Cote d'Ivoire and traveling to neighboring countries and come back and traveling to a neighboring country and give myself time, and not be permanently on the road without a stable place to be in West Africa.
Mhm. And like, how did you did you use public transport or did you fly into Ghana?
I used public transport to go into Ghana.
How was that? How was that? Is it like what we hear about
It was
chaos
It was pretty easy. It was pretty easy, to be honest. I mean, there's buses going there, there's taxis going there. I think that the traveling in West Africa is, I think people actually travel within West Africa quite a lot within the different countries. Like I know also like the people from Mali and Burkina Faso in Cote d'Ivoire, they travel in between the countries quite freely. And I also realized that people like from Ghana also travel like within Cote d'Ivoire. Of course, there's then the difference with Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire then is the language barrier, But I think that the movement between the countries is actually not difficult at all.
and then like for you, how was the visa process? Did you need a visa to go into Ghana?
Yes.
Like
Yes.
the
So
COVID, do you need a PCR or like if you're vaccinated, you can go in without like the need of a PCR?
yes, so I definitely needed a visa. So that took about a week to come out. I think it was about 700 CFA. And I did a PCR test, and I am also vaccinated. I understand now that the PCR test might not be required if you are vaccinated, but I'm not entirely sure. Sometimes you can hear something, but then it's a different reality on the ground. It's a different reality at the border. So yes, I did go through all of that before I traveled.
And then like for Cote d'Ivoire, which I think like is one thing that I forgot to ask earlier on, with the stay there, like what type of visa did you apply for? Which type of visa are you on? And like, was the process to get that really easy, or like it took like some hoops and connecting with different people? Hello. So like I was asking um, for Cote d'Ivoire, like when you decided to go to Cote d'Ivoire, like how was uh, what is the type of visa that you applied for and how was that process?
So it was quite an easy process. So as a South African, you can actually get a 3-month visa from to Cote d'Ivoire.
For free, no cost. Visa or no?
No, there is a cost. No, there definitely is a cost. I think it was around 1,500 Rand.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to go to Pretoria to go apply for the visa. And if you've been to Cote d'Ivoire before, they can actually even give you a longer visa, like even up to like a year. But I know that's for South African citizens. I'm not sure about other countries in Africa. They've got different rules for different countries in Africa.
And then after the 3 months, did you extend the visa or they gave
Yes.
you like the long one?
No, they gave me the 3-month visa because it was my first time coming to Cote d'Ivoire. Mm-hmm. And then I had to go extend it at their
immigration
department here, immigration department here, yes.
And how was that?
And that's quite an easy process as well. In fact, I was quite shocked because even in Gabon, it was sort of a similar process. You just apply to extend your visa. There's not much explaining to do. There's not much problems. to be honest. It's a pretty straightforward process where you fill in a form and they extend your visa.
That's nice. And like you did mention on about like budgeting and money, looking at what do you call it, like looking at the the slow travel, but also doing like countries around and the cost implications for that. Do you have any
Yeah.
kind of like budgeting or packing tips for people that are either looking to slow travel or just to come through to West Africa with particular interest in Cote d'Ivoire?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Any budgeting and packing tips for anyone who's interested in visiting Cote d'Ivoire from your yeah.
Yeah, so because I'm a slow traveler, so I planned to work, right, while I travel. So part of my plans was to use my social media to get an income. Because when I travel, like same thing in Gabon, I got a place to stay, I rented out a place. So I have to keep up with those expenses. But initially, I am even now still using my savings to travel. I do find that the countries in West Africa are definitely more expensive than South Africa. And even traveling within West Africa, if you want to fly, is actually quite expensive as well. From food, you know, I think from rentals, you can probably find affordable rentals. So for a person just coming here to visit, I'm not sure about hotel prices and Airbnb prices because that's not what I use because I'm a slow traveler. But for a person that is planning to stay for long, then they really must, like if you have a budget for food in South Africa, try to double or triple it, you know, and that's not even exaggerating. If you have a budget for transport, double it. So you sort of have your monthly budget the same way you would have if you were living in your own home country.
And for the slow travel and remote working, any luck in getting jobs, and how's that experience?
It's been difficult. It's been difficult. In fact, all the jobs I have right now are in South Africa. And I'm actually sort of using my professional expertise because I'm a lawyer. So that's what actually helping me get some consulting work in South Africa. But the plans that I actually had with making money on social media, that hasn't materialized. So I am partly using my savings and partly using the consulting work that I'm doing. So the plan is that I eventually manage to get enough consulting work that it covers my monthly expenses and that I don't have to rely on my savings. Because if I finish my savings, I will have to go back home and look for a job.
That's all our stories. That's all our stories. And
yeah,
for like I think like the interesting thing is like you took the plunge into this journey, and before that you had like ideas of how it would work out, like making money off social media, etc. What are the things now that you wish you knew before you started the trip, or things that you're realizing and then you're like, oh shit, oh fuck, like this is totally different? Like what is like maybe two things that you can think of from the top of your head that were like one thing that you wish you knew and one thing that you thought you knew and then you realized you know nothing?
I think definitely one of them is making money off social media and how long it takes, right? I think I did have an inkling, but I I did understand that it wouldn't be an immediate thing, but I also knew that if I don't do this now, I won't do it again. Like if I don't ride on this momentum that I have, I won't do it again. One of the things that shocked me here was the rentals that I had to pay 4 months in advance. So in South Africa, you just pay your deposit, which is 1 month in advance. So here you need to pay 4 months in advance. And because I'm a slow traveler, it's the cheapest way for me is actually to rent out a place and not to stay at an Airbnb or to stay at a hotel. So that was quite a shock because it needed a lot of upfront payments. So I wish I'd known that before, but still, even if I'd known that, I would have come. It wouldn't have changed my coming to Cote d'Ivoire because I just felt like this was the perfect opportunity for me to travel. So yeah, it's those two things, the big capital required upfront and the length of time it takes to make any sort of income from social media.
Okay, makes sense. And like it's really, because for me, like also the income of social media or like on online content and stuff, like it's really been an interesting journey. But like yeah, it's been like really like wow, okay. And then I think like I've got two more questions, right? And then like we're done. Where are you off to next?
I don't know. You know, I had planned to go to Nigeria, and I have been to Nigeria before, but I was just in Lagos. So I have friends that are in Abuja and in Kaduna. So the plan was to go and explore that side because I really do try explore different parts of countries that I travel to. I want to do that going forward. Unfortunately, that didn't happen because there was an unfortunate event that happened in Kaduna. There was an attack that happened there. So that also derailed my plans. So the next country now I'm looking to go visit is Togo. So I'm planning to go there either, I was planning in June, but now there's some work that have come up in June that I have to postpone my trip either in July or August.
Yes, I remember the Kaduna, was it the bombing or the kidnapping on the train?
Yes, and it happened, and the scary part is that it happened exactly where I was planning to go, exactly on the train I was planning to take. So, you know, that was quite, yeah, shocking.
And for people that are interested, I think like in supporting you on this trip, on this journey, either through commissioning content or getting your services as a lawyer, how do they go about that?
Okay, so firstly, I'd love it for people to follow me on my social media, on my Instagram and my YouTube channel. On my Instagram, my handle is Kanya, Kanya .kali, Kali. And on YouTube, it's Kanya Kali. And secondly, I love doing work on villages around the countries I travel to. But unfortunately, villages is probably one of the most difficult places to get to and the most expensive. So I am currently looking for sponsorships and grants to assist me to travel to these places so that I can have more detailed documentaries. So that would be really of help to me.
Okay, like I think that's it from my side. And like I would like to thank you again for joining us, and for everyone who is interested in supporting Kanye, follow her, check her out on social media, hire her, and put your money into her journey, helping her. And then, yeah, thank you so much again, Kanya. for the time and everything.
Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, cheers. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.